Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
You absolute degenerates in chat already talking about Will. It's great to be back here with some more world building. We're starting a little bit earlier just to try and try out some new things. And look, we're dropping the world building Wednesday title because we all know what this stream is really about. It's about getting distracted.
Two nerds get distracted whilst trying to world build.
Yeah. Oh, look at these beautiful humans. This one and that one.
How you doing, Nate?
Right. How is everyone? So, who's seen Cyberpunk Edgerunners? Because that's what me and Raph are honestly thinking more about. Nate, I hope you're reading that rulebook I sent you.
Yeah, we will get distracted talking about it.
We will.
It's about
it's always about
power. I have watched it.
We both watched it. Yes, we both watched it. It was great, honestly. I hope you are, Nate. You best be reading that book cover to cover because you better be ready to fuck with biotechnic because I've got an idea and it's unfortunately I have so many other things I should be focusing on, but I just have these little flips of ideas take form in my brain and do not let me go.
We will be doing a Cyberpunk one-shot mini campaign, full campaign. Who knows? We will be doing one. Eventually down the line.
You know, that would have made a much smarter stream today, Raph, if we were reviewing the game system that was Cyberpunk and making characters. That's what smart people
and trying to learn it. You know what? That would be a really smart idea. Take that for down the line, especially once we've finished going through the different worlds.
Oh, yeah. Raph does need a Sandy. Yeah, 100%.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Raph, how much in donuts would we need to receive for you to shave the same pattern David has in the side of your head?
For me to cosplay as David,
just give us a number. Yeah. Just give us a number.
Look, I'd say solid 5 subs.
5 subs to shave a pattern into your head.
Let's fucking go.
My guy, that's
No.
That's not an awful lot. Let's up that number a little bit.
Look, I'm definitely not doing that.
Look, Kate shaved a slit into his eyebrow before. We can,
you know, good point.
Yeah, Demon. Basically, I've come up with this. You know, it's a simple. I've never run a Cyberpunk game before, so my base concept is Biotechnica is. Sharon's about to sub to make Raph act up. But Biotechnica, basically, the concept. Biotechnica is making a new super drug, and there's there's someone who wants that, a fixer who wants it. So. A group of very competent and capable individuals. They gotta go Nova on their ass.
Yeah, I like it. Nate, I like your idea there. I think that we've discussed a few iterations now of this idea of us playing the same character but 2 people in the same body type of thing. So it will happen. In what iteration? If it's in Cyberpunk, if it's in D&D, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen eventually. No, there's a lot of ideas going around, a lot of ideas bouncing around our head. There's a lot of mini-series and one-shot ideas. I think right now there's I want to say 3 mini-series one-shot ideas I have full conception of.
Yep. One which will happen.
3 which will happen.
One's more locked in towards the start of next year. Which
I don't know which one you're talking about. I think I know which one you're talking about, but it could be the newest one I came up with. Oh yeah, I know which one you're.
Yeah. Don't want to give away the secrets on stream, but there are a lot of plans in the works.
Oh yeah. We're nothing if not people who plan too much.
Yes.
But Raph,
yes. So what we're talking
Mechs machines. We're talking about
today.
Our cosmology. So we're working for the past many weeks. We've been going through each planet in Quenthos, and we're getting now to the one that's kind of where your modrons and your various mechs and machines and stuff are going to come to. Kyle says, at the Elscribe, Raph needs to be a rogue that campaign so he can have the Sandy. No, Kyle, we're actually going to play Cyberpunk 2020. Like, we're learning the rules. It's not going to be Cyberpunk in D&D.
It's not going to be.
So if Raph wants to deal with cyber psychosis and buy a Sandy...
I will be having a Sandy in that. I don't care. Will my character be called David? Maybe.
No, Davis. Please. Legally distinct Davis wears a blue jacket. But no, we're gonna learn the cyberpunk system because it's something I've had ideas. Me and Raph have talked like kind of cyberpunk style systems because I've run Starfinder before, and I love both fantasy and like sci-fi, but I've not really. Cade says I feel like Sandy is a euphemism, and Kyle says yes, Raph needs a Sandy.
You know what, Kate? Just watch Cyberpunk Age Runners and you'll find out the answer to that.
And Netherray says, I'm only stopping in to say. Yeah, that's...
yeah.
Why is Cyberpunk 2020 and not Cyberpunk Red or Corporation or Shadowrun? Because I have Cyberpunk 2020. It's as simple as that.
And we don't know the differences well enough, except for
I know the difference is minutely between Cyberpunk Red and Cyberpunk 2020. There's I did a little bit of research between the two systems, and based on what people were saying and like the way it plays, although the net running is apparently not quite as good in Cyberpunk 2020 as compared to Cyberpunk Red. I've got Cyberpunk 2020. It comes with Cyberpunk 2077. It's actually in the source files, which is really, really cool. So I got that, and I'm reading through it. And
Shadowrun's very different. Like, we don't want to have the fantasy elements from Shadowrun in it. And Corporation, I don't actually really know much about Corporation.
Do I want an unopened box of Cyberpunk Red? I didn't even know they made boxes of Cyberpunk Red. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Cyberpunk Red, the cereal.
All right, so in terms of principles, talk about principles.
But yeah, let's talk about principles. So we've talked a little bit about... Oh god, we've got good messages coming in there. A fun idea for a cyberpunk world. I say you roll a D20, and once then you have low biotech resistance, and you can really only have 1 or 2 installments. 10 to 18, you can have a lot more tech in you, and even be with Edge Runner, a person that does choose to be a deep diver. Think of them as psychic damage dealers. 18 to 20, you get the OP shit of being unable to replace your whole ass body with text, and you double psychic damage and stuff. Well, D20 at the race. So that's cool. That'd be cool with making a random character. I actually don't know if I haven't gotten into actually going into Cyberpunk 2020. I don't know if it's a D20 system.
I don't know enough, honestly, myself.
Nate, you are one of our favorite people. We will talk soon. I will talk to you very soon as well.
Yes.
Thanks for everything lately. But we'll see you soon. But yeah, so we're trying to talk, like, it's in the time we're going to get distracted because we are degenerates.
We've gotten distracted before we've even talked about what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so we're talking about a machine that is basically a planet. So Principal is the name of the world. Principal is the name of the Sentry dragon here. Principal is the Great Machine. This was once a planet that was lawless and overseen by one of the great Sentry worms, and it went a little bit overzealous. It went full on Atom Smasher and replaced all its entire body with machinery. It's
many references in today's stream. I can tell already.
Look, be a bad time to be named Becca is all I'm saying.
Yeah, so essentially it's a planet like many of the others. This is the realm that represents law and order. Yeah,
which is actually reflected in the 2 moons. They rotate, but they change their elevation,
their position,
to show when there is a perfect balance of order and chaos. Because the Great Machine cares not for if there is more order or more chaos. They just care for the perfect balance between it. Look, Kyle, I agree. When Becca died, So when the moons do...
massive spoilers for anyone.
Look, we already said at the start of this raft that we have finished Edge Runners. Like, we're talking to the group, like... Don't worry, we'll put it in at the start of the VOD and we'll just, like, flash Cyberpunk Edge Running warning.
Edge Runner spoilers. Do not watch if you have not finished. God, I would hate for Jen to call in.
Oh God, could you imagine?
Sees that.
And then she'll say "wah," and then Dari will appear out of nowhere. AJ and Caden will just all start going "wah" because we did that to her last week.
I forgot about
Cade is suffering. I don't think Cade's seen it.
Well, Cade said that he's not going to see it.
Did Cade say he's not going to see it?
I think that's what the "nah, I'm good" was in reference to that.
Oh.
Unless it wasn't. Unless you are actually going to watch a Cade. In which case, I feel sorry for you coming across spoilers in Twitch chat.
Look, true. But yeah, it feels bad. Warning, me and Raph have been talking a lot about Edge Runners. And it's great, and we've loved it. There's also probably spoilers for... Yeah, look, Raph, I really want to stay at your house, and it hurts. Yeah. I just don't want to let you down.
Shut the fuck up. Look, Des, I'll just take you to the moon, okay?
Which one, though? Which one? We've got more than one.
Hey.
But yeah, we're talking about our D&D world. This is not a stream reviewing Cyberpunk Edge Runners, although I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10 because I do want more. Raph, what's your quick review?
I would say 9 out of 10 simply because I felt like it could have been expanded a bit more, which isn't really criticism as such, saying that I want more. But I feel like if there's one thing, that would be it. A few more episodes even just that, not necessarily too much more. Yeah.
Juke says Becca is a critical role character. No, we're talking Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and it will hurt you emotionally if you watch that anime. Yeah. Look, Kate, I'm here to plant you into the enemy team, just to troll you. That's what happened when me and Kate were playing League, and I trolled the fuck out of him.
God.
But yeah, we're talking principle. So the planet as itself is God, it's just... So Dima says the world building was good, especially for the amount of episodes they did. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, it was really good. So
I would say my main issue with Cyberpunk Edge Runners is that I give it a 9.5 out of 10, 95%, because I feel like there were some times in the show where they told you rather than showed you, and it was just like a couple of minutes of just characters saying what was going to happen, or what the emotions were like between people, rather than building it naturally. And that's the only reason I can actually mark a point down. In fact, I might even go to similar to Raph as 9 out of 10 if I wasn't allowed half marks. I wouldn't round it up to a perfect 10 because there's... I'm not going to say who because this is like midway spoilers, but midway through there's an important character death that I think should have been the end of season 1 and had 10 episodes encompassing that. And then after that character dies, there's also a time skip. That should have been season 2. I think a time skip would have done better after one season into the next, rather than midway through the season. Now that we've got that out of the way with, the Great Machine, yes, was once a planet that was represented law, and very little is known of the history, because the Great Machine, the dragon itself, this is like one of these things, it's like, do we talk about Sarok the city or Sarok the god? The Great Machine is the dragon, the Great Machine is the planet. So it's the same thing, but the planet that was principal served as like a nexus point for the Century Great Worms to kind of relay information. And seeing as the Century Great Worms are all about balance, this is where one of the more senior of them, that like in terms of like say and authority, held domain. And slowly but surely they saw the weakness of flesh to then slowly replace it, and it now is a large planet that is pretty much to the core machine, but the core of the planet is actually fueling, like, is used as an energy source by the planet itself. Great Worms, Fijuki, you may have the VOD should be up on the Twitch. The Great Worms, a quick rundown is there is, for each planet there is a Great Worm, and the Great Worms are sent by the god that created everything before anything, like the one that made the universe, made the Great Worms, that basically watch and wait to try and intervene if there's any moment where the world could unravel itself, if universe breaking situations, like the War of the Gods, like the various things that could crop up, like if a planet was to be destroyed, the Great Worms would try and intervene then. They're basically there to watch and wait and try and maintain balance.
Yeah, yeah. Except Principal, the Great Machine. Actually, is the name of the dragon Principal or the Great Machine?
Both.
Okay, yeah. So Principal, as in the dragon, took it a step too far, essentially,
Yeah, look,
and went a bit overboard with the principles of order, and decided that rather to just observe and try and maintain it on the one planet, would try and enforce that throughout the whole cosmology, in a sense. They seek to bring order and maintain order throughout the whole.
oh, it'll be really cool. So next campaign, we know someone wants to play an
Yeah.
artificer. I'm not going to leak any character concept, but we know next campaign someone wants an artificer. Imagine, I know you're on a warlock, or playing like some form of warlock that is a warlock to the Great Machine, and is literally like part like steampunk, like metallic arms, like bits replaced.
Why would you put that idea in my head? As I've said this before to you, Des. Every time we go into one of these world building streams, I come out with like a handful of new character ideas, being like, that'd be really interesting to play.
Yeah, because like
be
in the
really cool, though.
In the servitor chart of Strongholds and Followers, there is like Mechanus, like their version of like the law realms where modrons come from, and there's actual summons you can get if you beseech the Great Machine. In our world, I would use that as the table.
Yeah, you know what? That would actually be kind of cool to get. Even just like actually even like playing a paladin to the Great Machine would actually be quite an interesting
an order paladin
concept as well. An order paladin to the Great Machine. I think that could be a really interesting concept. You could even create like a subclass related to the Great Machine.
There's a sorcerer. What's that? Clockwork Sorcerer or something like that?
Yeah, there's a Clockwork Sorcerer.
Clockwork Soul, something like that. That would work really, really well. The Great Machine does have moons, Fajuk. It has 2 moons that balance based on the overall level of order and chaos within the cosmos. And if those things go out of whack, the Great Machine is going to start sending a bunch of good but not great machines to go and fix it. Basically, the Great Machine has one hobby, and it's drones.
So,
yeah, that's why we'd make our own game. Actually, no, there is one. We use it from Deep Magic or Midgard Heroes Handbook. There is because there's the Gearforged as a race, which is like soul magic that binds your soul into a machine, not like Warforged where it's like a new soul created. And I believe, did we not have something in that is, the reason I banned it is because there is something within our source books that we use already from Cobalt Press that has something like that.
Yes, you are correct.
Or am I misremembering?
There is one that is similar from within the Cobalt Press stuff.
Yeah, which I prefer because it was not busted.
However, no, there is no sorcerer one. There's a wizard one, but there's no sorcerer.
That's it. A wizard one. There was a subclass similar.
Yeah. Yep. I can't remember what the subclass is called. I think it's quite literally like clockwork wizard.
Demon Disguise, would Selenite be allies with Mechanus? Well, this is not Mechanus. I know that is a realm. I do not even know who Selenites are. Is that there's Selene? I think that's ringing bells from Baldur's Gate.
This is not a Forgotten Realms. Like in terms of deities and planets and realms and stuff, we don't really have any of those.
Any of them?
No, we have like our own. We have our own iterations.
Yeah, we have a Land of Fairies. We have a Celestial Realm.
Yeah,
this is all like our stuff from
scratch. Abyss, our version of Hell.
Yeah, so me and Raph know very unfortunate little about official content.
Yes.
Well, you ask us shit about Quenthos, and we know a lot of our setting that we worked on.
Yeah, which you would hope so. You would hope that we would know a lot about this setting. So in terms of Principle, the Great Machine, how is it structured? Like, are there cities on the planet itself, or is it just just very
there's factories,
industrial looking?
It's an industrial planet. There's factories that would be like there's modrons. There's like other constructs that are there, but it's not inhabited by any. I say not inhabited by any player race, but now I'm realizing we could definitely make a player race.
I feel like you could easily make a player race related related to the planet, which I kind of feel like. But then the only issue with that is that you don't want to step on the toes of Warforged and whatever the Kobold one that we use is. You don't really want it to step on the toes. So you need to try and create a machine-like race that is
Well, no, we have.
different from them.
I suppose the Gearforged as a base would be very
Gearforged, that's it. I mean, you could even.
Yo, you know, it'll be really fucked up. So we know we're going to get distracted here with a little bit. I mean, this is like stuff that will explain a bit if people have questions, but our world has two sides. This is Quenta's side we're talking about most of the time, but there's another side called Durapidon, which is separated by the elemental plane of water. Keep with me here. It's just a little bit of a talk here. So there's a country within Durapidon called Imperitha, and they found out a way to use clockwork magic to put someone's soul in a Gearforged. What if we made Gearforged, but the reason Imperitha was able to put souls in Gearforged bodies is because they ripped out the souls from Gearforged bodies?
Okay.
As if, like, do Gearforged... It's not how it's written in the Cobalt Press stuff. Gearforged are people who've got their soul put in it. But it's like, what if they had a soul in them to begin with? And Imperitha lied.
Or even if they ripped the soul out of Warforged.
True,
and
true.
Like,
that's also no longer confirmed
take...
canon unless we ever decide to bring the two worlds together.
True, we could just entirely do our own thing. A separate story for the side of the world. I mean, what are even the origins of Warforged in the other side of the world? Like, did you actually confirm the origins of it?
We talked about that a little bit before, and I think you're probably not remembering. It's from Lunacourt. It was originally brought in by the Moon Elves to maintain the wall between themselves and the Sun Elves.
That's right, I remember now. Yeah. Do you think we could have a connection between Warforged and Principle, the Great Machine?
I think maybe the magic could come from Principle, but they don't know it. Oh my god, imagine every Warforged is like the magic that helps bring them to life is part sleeper agent from the Great Machine.
Yeah, part sleeper agent, but I imagine more as just like an observation unit from the Great Machine in order to like see what's going on the world, to like see the thing. Like, it would interfere with the balance too much to probably activate them.
Yeah, it would, but let's catch up on chat a little bit. Kyle says steampunk, love it. Vijay says, what are the moons like? Are the moons like machines? The moons are machines. They are not natural celestial bodies. They are constructs made by the Great Machine to monitor the balance of order and chaos. You have a werepug. No, Kyle, you are a werepug. And Medium Disguise says, there is a class called Clockwork Soul Sorcerer, but that's busted as fuck, so we don't allow it at our table. And Demon Disguise says, I only remember shit about Mechanist because it's all about lawful and clock core on crack, essentially. Yeah, that's all I know too, and I fucking love clock core. Kate says, Ayo, more homebrew, let me know, gamers. We will. We've got some stuff in the works, and I definitely want to bring you in for more stuff, Kate. Cal said, dudes, the player's raise is the player. Raise is the cyberpunk, but steampunk style. Yeah, steampunk, cyberpunk, why not? Why not both? Vijay says, follow up on my last question, what are the moons named? Order and Chaos.
Yeah, I just think even simple. Like, that's
I don't think the Great Machine, like the Great Machine called itself the Great Machine. Yeah.
Honestly, this is like the naming conventions for anything related to this world will be very much direct and to the point. It's not about creating fanciful names or anything different. It's very much practical and functional. It doesn't try to be fancy. Then
Kate said, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the Warforged Great Machine agents. Yeah, it does feel like taking away a bit of player agency. We're just spitballing here. We know that there's Leonin and Ojik here that made a Warforged head of sorts.
True, that's true. But yeah, as we said, we're just spitballing ideas between us.
Yeah. I do like the Gearforged idea though, Kate. I do agree with that. And that could be something I could work around. Maybe the souls into bodies was always Warforged rather than Gearforged. From like we can rewrite a lot of Durapidon because it's not been not been on stream, it doesn't have to be the Great Machine.
The Great Machine is prehistoric Atom Smasher.
It do be smashing atoms, but not atoms. Legally distinct.
Golems are created and people imbue some of their soul into the clay. So what if they basically run a golem sweatshop and found the bits of soul and they have to gift soul to the Gearforged? That's kind of a cool idea. I think I quite like the idea of ripping the souls out and then.
I like the idea of ripping souls out of Gearforged. I don't like the idea. Are we talking Imperto there? Because the Great Machine does not fuck with clay. Clay is not metal. Just that's weak. Yeah. That's weak.
It's too flimsy, too delicate,
too flimsy. Metal is forever.
Next to certainty.
Exactly.
I was about to say something, I can't remember what. But I think there's a lot of potential there for us to create either a new backstory for a race that exists, or to create our own in there.
Yeah, we could always just make a clockwork, right? Like, I don't know, Gearforged is taken, like, you'd have to think of a good name for it. And then Fajik asked, does that mean Diraptor and Quenthos have different Great Worms? No, because they're the same planet. They're
the same planet, although technically, I think we agreed upon
I know the one you're talking about, but
yeah,
that's more like the big one that was called in. It doesn't need it anymore. Diraptor had one.
Yeah,
it needed to use it. So you can melt the Great Machine if you've got enough fire, but it'd be difficult. It's a full planet. Cade said, "I'd love to create a race." Same, I love creating races. But we've got a couple ideas. Let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Meadows forever.
Who's
that super hot flamethrower? Yeah, look, that's going to be at the end of the Great Machines. It's going to burn to the ground. Jet fuel will burn through it.
Oh no! Rat stopped. God, we're so distracted today. So tight.
So move on. But in terms of us discussing the shape, like in terms of the planet itself, it's very industrial. It has a lot of factories.
Oh, there's no longer any organic material on the surface, or even much below the surface.
What does it produce in terms of the factories and that? Like, I imagine they're not just idle. Like, is it creating like modrons and like
modrons, constructs, and then like I can show a little bit from like the sort of servitor. So we use strongholds and followers for a lot of stuff, and in that there's rules for summoning things when you have a stronghold. And I can just show some of the art from the book because I have the book. There is what I love is these sort of servitors from that realm coming in time of need and aid. If I can find it, that'd be great. I just want to find the page number because I was trying to flip to it, but I can't remember it. So it's 226. I would say this book is lovely, but like these sort of things, like these are what it's getting spit at. Like that is space. You've got death and change, like these super cool things. Like they need to ensure certain things happens. Like people can't avoid death. People can't avoid nature. Like they, like look at this shit. Like imagine I just start wheeling that at you boys. Like
I'll start wheeling the other way.
Exactly. You're like Cal, just just cartwheel away.
I don't want to fuck with this shit.
No, but like that's the other thing is like the Great Machine enforces the. Oh God, Kate. That's a really good thing Kate just put in. What if a race from the Great Machine used a liquid metal type thing that allows it to alter its body from different ways tasks they're given?
Liquid metal.
Terminator intensifies.
I was gonna say Terminator 2 style. I kind of like that, honestly.
And then Cogs Creations could be a name of Gearborn.
I quite like the idea of there being a race that sort of represent agents of the Great Machine in a sense, or like those that have been sent down. Just to also give agency for Warforged and Gearforged characters to be completely separate from the Great Machine.
Also, we talked a little bit about this before. I don't know if we've talked about this on stream, but there's an area in Quentos called the Indaria Isles that is where all these races are meant to be, like the Everillian, like the Zarthelian, these ones. And I think we could definitely include something like that, but we just have to figure out how it works into the jungle scape that is there. And then Vijay asked a very good question. So are there machines involved in the Demon and Devil Wars? Well, the Demon and Devil Wars don't happen that often. If you go back to our VOD for the war, the small wars, it's basically the only time those two planets actually interact is when the planets line up a way that Zar Corvette and Osiris are close enough to each other that the demons try and slingshot themselves from their planet down, like their broken tower of the planet, onto Osiris to try and absorb the negative energy.
Yeah.
And then Kyle says Wilk can melt it.
Wilk can melt it, absolutely. Chalky Wilk, even more.
Look,
I think it's a good time to also point out in terms of with the machines involved in the Demon Devil War. I imagine the agents and individuals from the Great Machine are very much isolation. Like, they're very much isolationists. They probably, out of all the worlds discussed, are probably the ones that involve themselves in the affairs, like, directly.
They watch, they don't act.
The least. Yeah. They watch, they don't act. They try.
There's a lot of wiggle room for the chaos and order to have like their ebbs and flows. It's not like everything has to be perfect balance right now, but it's like there has been times of severe chaos, so there will be times of severe order, and this will go in the natural flow of the cosmology. But if I don't think Raph has any chocolate milk right now, so I don't know if that's possible.
I don't have any chocolate. So, but look, Kyle, if you can promise me that next Wednesday you will have $15 to give, I will come prepared with some chocolate milk. I don't normally stock it, but I can have a special effort next week to have some in stock.
So
Solar Dragons. That's a kind of cool idea, actually.
Since your world seems very... We'll read the chat first so people know what we're talking about. Since your world seems very much space-related with a bunch of planets, would that mean you try to use solar dragons? Be careful, those overgrown snakeskin boots are broken as hell. I haven't read them. I believe that's in the new Spelljammer stuff that came out, and I haven't looked at any of them.
I like the idea of them, and I like the look of them.
See, I don't hate it, but you have to remember that all the planets, like, they're not just like sitting in space, because what is the in-between is the void. Like the endless expanse is the void. It's not like things can easily traverse across us other than like illithid ships and such. Like they are busted, I believe that. And then Kyle said that is if I can. Well, if you can, Raph will have chocolate milk. Yeah, the Solar Dragons, I like the concept of. I have seen some art. I haven't seen stats. Because there was past tense.tm, could be in future tense if we want to talk apocalypse. There was the Void Dragon. Do the Starless and the Emperor have ships? The Starless are subterranean in the world below. They do not have access to the endless expanse. They do not have sky ships.
No, they don't have sky ships, and the Emperor.
Does not anymore.
Yes, does not anymore because they've left that life behind to become an immortal lich necromancer emperor thing. But
we'll talk a lot about probably like the Void in conjunction with the next planet we cover, which is Parsethor, which is the shifting storm. It's where you're going to find your illithids and such. Although I don't think we can ever put that in print because I believe Illithid and Mind Flayer is copyrighted. But like all these Nautilus style stuff, that is where they would be if we were to put them in the game.
Yeah. What I was going to say, but in terms of the Void Dragon, that's like category A, like top.
That is not like a Void Dragon. That is the Void Dragon.
Yeah, it is like top tier apocalyptic threat.
Yeah. That's an Avengers level problem.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the Void Dragon a little bit. I think there's so much history. Like, you know, if you guys are in the Discord, if not, join the Discord. But go into the go into just the D&D chat and let us know. Would you enjoy us to go like a history stream series of our setting? Because me and Raph know an awful lot of Quenthouse's history, and the thing is, this dates back like over 3 years. Kyle says, can I, the werepug, go to space? Sure, but you can't breathe in space. Congratulations. Yep. You just played yourself. You dead. Roll a new character.
And because you played werepug quite often the last 2 games, we want you to try something different. Be a were-chihuahua.
It's evolving just backward.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to. Yeah, I know, Kate. I just hit him with the Des hammer. But yeah, in terms of the history stream, I think that'd be kind of interesting because a lot that we often touch upon and brush over, but we can't go into too much detail because that would take up too much time.
We've talked about it a lot of it.
But I think it would be very interesting to have a history stream as such. There's a lot of topics that I would like to cover, and I think would be very interesting to cover. I think it'd be, yeah, but I think that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, so we'll answer just, no one asked, but I'm going to explain. The Void Dragon, not a Void Dragon. The Void Dragon, when the world was made, when the cosmology, the explanation of what was at the beginning, there was the Divine Observer who made everything, all the planets you will see. They were a being of utmost creation, and then you had a being of utmost destruction, the Void Dragon. The Void Dragon got disassembled, is the best way to put it.
By the Dawn Watcher.
By the Dawn Watcher and a couple of the great old gods, and got split into three pieces: the Jeweled Wings, the Horned Serpent, and the Matron of the Woods. Two of them have reformed together, and if all three get reformed together, it's a doomsday scenario.
Yeah, it does. How did the two of them get formed together? Like, that's terrible. Who let that happen? Who can we point fingers at and blame?
You. Fucking holding your gun like you're answering a door.
Like, see. Yeah, so I think that would be a very interesting idea for an end game. It would be almost too much of an end game scenario, because at that stage there's very little that player characters could do, and it'd be mostly up to higher powers to solve it. So it'd be very difficult.
Kajuk says, what machines does Chaos and Order make? HP laser jets. So it's a perfect balance. One, it makes the HP laser jet, it is a Chaos. The other makes the brother printers. That is Order.
Yeah.
The moons don't make anything, Kajuk. They strictly are monitoring stations. Machines that are made on principle go there.
I had ideas for the moons, and I don't know if you have ideas that would counter this or anything for the moons, but what if the moons were the titans of principle, that the dragon principle essentially bound into creation into being these moons representing order and chaos, and essentially turn them into machines to represent that. They're the titans of the planet, but that's what the dragon turned them into.
All right, I'm going to slap that dead seal of approval on that theory. That is now canon confirmed, because the titans represent base like natural forces. So a titan of order and a titan of chaos, like these things would make sense. And
potentially, you know what? In terms of the history of the planet, maybe when the Great One was first sent there was already these two titans that were essentially warring against each other constantly on the planet, and then the Great One stepped in. And in resolving the conflict, when the Great One first had the entire notions of, I need to step beyond my station and enforce order as best as I can, bound them into machines to stop their fighting and to represent their base instincts, to tie them up there.
I really like
I think that's...
No, if you roll above a 10, you don't, Kyle. If I roll above a 10, I get the last piece and recreate the Void Dragon. No, you didn't.
You need to roll much higher than 10. You need to roll a 30 on the d20 in order to get it.
So how big are Order and Chaos? Relative to the planet, not very, I'd imagine. I think they're quite small ones.
Yeah.
The Great Machine is how I call my microwave. It makes my food warm and radioactive. Daria, how are you doing, my good friend, my gamer?
I'm glad you could come straight in with another hot Daria meme, straight off the press.
No, it is our resident meme lord. But as the actual size of the moons, that's something we've not actually discussed much, is the actual, I don't think we've ever discussed physical size of the planet, because setting scale for these sort of things just makes it slightly difficult.
They're all in your head. But I think we can safely say for these moons, considering their nature and how they were formed are probably on the smaller side.
The moons are equal size to each other, but they're small.
Yes, they're equal size to each other.
Thank you, Daria, for giving us a juicy +1 view.
Thank you for lurking. Always a pleasure.
Daria, you just do right click on my profile on Discord and you can just tune into the tunes going through Spotify.
Hey. Dire Corgi. If we can get a lichen Corgi, imagine a dire Corgi. Oh god. Think about how it would actually be much more deadly than dire wolf, but people were received by the cuteness. That's actually kind of cool. I like that. A deceptive werewolf.
Look, canonically it would make the best boats because that cake float. That's such a cursed sentence.
That is such a cursed sentence. So I'm curious.
I know, Kyle, roll a D20. If you roll above a 10, you can be a dire corgi. If not, you're... I don't know what the opposite of dire is. You're a dour corgi.
Just a very sad corgi.
Yeah. Congratulations, you rolled below 10, you have depression.
In regards to the planet itself, does it have... Well, the planet, I mean the Great Worm planet, the whole combination of it, does it actually... fuck's sake.
Look, you are just a Derek Corgi, Kyle. This is character development. Congratulations, you have depression.
I can't remember. But yeah, in terms of that, does it actually actively try to engage with other planets, other worlds, or not really?
Again, only if there is a misbalance in order and chaos.
Okay, so what does it determine as being a misbalance in order and chaos? Like, in terms of, what is its views on that? Because obviously there's been a lot of
that is like, how long is a piece of string?
Well, yeah, so I'm curious then, because like when Zarkorved shattered, did it view that as an imbalance within order and chaos and everything? Or did it still see it as being part of the natural order because it was still chaotic?
No,
at the end of the day, it was still fulfilled as well.
I think almost when Zarkorved shattered, the Great Machine absorbed the planet. To absorb something that was so much chaos, it had to be balanced out with so much order. It doesn't always intervene, it just tries to balance. So if something's generating a lot of chaos, it would send forces to bolster the forces of order. Or if it's something's causing so much order, it sends something to fire the...
I quite like that there are these almost like massive, I guess like, I don't know the right word, but like I'm imagining in my mind like almost like satellite dishes almost. But like the Great Machine works. One of its purposes created by the Great Worm is to almost siphon excess chaotic and sort of damaging energies from these massive events that have occurred, to almost siphon them away and secure them and store them so they can't spread out.
And that turns into new constructs.
And that turns into new constructs. That is how it constantly draws upon these energies. And that's how it also makes sure that these, like Ivarillion, for example, how it didn't spread beyond the planet, because it essentially siphoned the worst of it away as much as it could.
Yeah,
and
then
stored it within these massive, like, I can't remember.
These factories and hubs, yeah. No, I really like this. And then that can flow into my idea where when their order is getting too strong, the excess chaos machines are sent to chaos and the excess order machines are pulled from order and vice versa to try and preemptively stop this. I know we're getting distracted, but I also want to catch up on chat a little bit because our chat is popping.
I'm going to catch up on chat.
Where were we? We saw the Dower Corgi happen. Dari says, actually, I can't Des listen in. Spotify said, fuck Russia. And although I agree, it's a little sad. It is a little sad. Raf will record afterward and we will just have a Raf rendition of each song. He will sing it and send it to you for next time. We'll have a pre-recorded one.
I will sing each and every one of the songs for you,
Demon Disguise says, can I tame the Dire Corgi? Sorry, Demon, there's only a Dower Corgi. I am a sad Corgi. You are a sad Corgi.
Yes,
and Corgi is always good, even small. Yes, I really am a small Dire Corgi. And then Demon says, my character's goal just have a pack of dire corgis and dire wolves. When it's bedtime, they clap their hands and they all come over as a cuddle pile and act like a blanket of sorts. That is a swarm keeper, if I have not heard a ranger class before.
Oh my god, a swarm keeper who just has a lot of little dogs.
That is what honestly convinced me otherwise. The Queen of England was a swarm keeper ranger, and her corgis were that. And then Fashuk says, isn't that up to chaos and order to determine the imbalance and not the Great Machine? Well, the Great Machine made these things, like made the moons, and now uses them as a monitoring station. So when they see the imbalance form, they then try and intervene to balance it out.
What if that is where the energy goes that siphons off? It goes into the moons.
And the moons make the... Oh, because that would... You're right, because if the...
And then the Great Machine draws upon the energy from the moons to fuel the factories, the furnaces, and what have you. But essentially, that is their purposes. If there's too much of one type of energy going on, it gets siphoned off into the moons themselves, which hold it.
Yeah, they're like big fucking batteries. But also, you think about this, so there is factories on Order and Chaos, because if the Great Machine were to put those factories on principle, that would unbalance that planet. If there was a bunch of chaotic constructs on the planet, along with a bunch of order constructs, those would clash. So they have to be on their separate moons, separated to keep it balanced.
And you have like the Modron and like very neutral ones on the planet
Exactly.
itself.
You have the neutral ones that help maintain and monitor these things. You have the neutral ones who are on the stations helping read the metrics and monitor it. And that would... Oh, this is all coming together. Get some Raft brains in chat. Get some Raft brains in chat.
This is Raft brains in chat. This is coming together. But I quite like the idea of it being a very, industrial scape. I don't want it to be like a cityscape. I just want it to be like...
No cities. Cities are cringe.
No, but it's massive industrial complexes just spanning over it. Very almost like semi-futuristic. But like in the very like 1980s futuristic.
Yeah, cyberpunk, let's say the word.
Yeah. Cyberpunky, but not like full like neon light cyberpunky.
No.
But much more of just like grim.
I imagine it's just dull, like office light. It's just efficient. It's
just efficient. That's it, because essentially the planet doesn't really care about the balance between good and evil. It's about law and order, law and chaos.
You smell the smog in the air easier than the actual smell. There's no ozone anymore. It's just smog because they don't need an ozone layer. Nothing there breathes. They've reduced all the organic material on the planet away, and that chaos was balanced with the order that will be brought through by making sure everything is brought through. Everything's got a balance. Everything's got a balance.
I quite like the idea as well, is that, this is really interesting. This is a very interesting idea. And I could see it as the world gets, in terms of Quenthos, gets more developed. There could be people learning more of the Great Machine and trying to almost like glean insights into how it creates these things in order to like retain that knowledge and use that knowledge. And that's why you have people potentially making pacts and making agreements or arrangements with the Great Machine that, yes, I will help observe and bring order here, but at the same time, I want to try and get some of this knowledge that you've used to create machinery and these vast artificery engines, and I'll try and like borrow that and use that on the planet itself.
Wow, I love that. I really like what we're getting with this.
And I've also been talking and forgetting to write down any of this. Very typical.
Look, we've named the stream more accurately this time. What's world building? We're just chatting.
Well, we've actually got some really good ideas, though, I think.
No, we've got some very, very good ideas, and I'm extremely happy with what we have so far. This is
quite like if it ever went to war. Yeah, if it ever went to war, if it was ever invaded, you would just see like Modrons in like mech suits defending it.
100%.
Cool as fuck. There'd be like little Modrons in like these massive mech suits, and I think that's both.
Oh my god! You know what's more efficient, Raf? You know what's more fucking efficient? None of the big machines are sentient. It's all piloted by like Modrons and shit. Like even all those ones in Strong and Followers, it's like those big machines, they take up space. Let's send the pilots in. So you've got like every big construct is just piloted by a smaller construct, and it's just like
I like that.
It's the more efficient way of doing it.
The whole planet is essentially the movie robots. Convince me otherwise.
Exactly. Kyle says this stream was really successful. Yes, it has been.
Yeah, we've actually come up with a lot of good ideas. They put out one solar power plant because it was made before the smoke covered the planet, completely essentially having a plus of houses in there. Yeah.
So if you can read that aloud for stream. So Demon says they put up only one solar power planet because it was made before the smog covered the planet completely, essentially enveloping the planet, making it possible for outsiders to know what's in it. I like that. I like it.
That's cool.
And then
like
Fajuk says, so there's no planet-eating thing like Ultron in your universe. There is a planet-eating thing, and it's called the Void Dragon, but that's currently disassembled.
Yeah, true. And there are other forces out there that may seek to devour planets, but at the end of the day, I mean, look, in terms of, you have the Great Old One on Everillion that seeks to devour the life force of beings from planets in terms of sentient creatures and their life forces, which is also kind of similar.
Yeah. But no, like, the one creature that would devour a planet, like an actual full planet, that is called the Void Dragon, and it is currently disassembled for the safety of the setting.
For the safety of everyone's sanity and fortune.
And then Demon said, where's the big well then? And the well is the friends we made along the way.
What types of stuff?
We've got some really good ideas there. Like, to catch up on what we've done, we've got, like, the way the energy is siphoned from order and chaos. It's very, very good. Yeah, Fajik, I will shoot a message to you. I'll just link you the I'll link you the playlist on YouTube for all the VODs. Sleep well.
Yeah, Fajik.
This is very good. I like what.
So in terms of one thing, the heart tree.
So this is something I had ideas for. I believe, although it was an act of like destruction at that time, I think the Great Machine probably cut it down. I think the Great Machine probably destroyed it because there's no organic material on principle.
I quite like to think that yes, but that would be against the order of the universe. That is the heart tree is a natural part of the universe. It represents an order, a consistent. All planets have the heart tree. It's a consistent order of things. But what if it rebuilt it as metal?
Or rebuilt it so it couldn't be destroyed.
Because wood is weak. Or like a material like that is weak. Metal is strong. Someone could come along and burn down a tree. You get like, it sees it in terms of that rationale, it could create some of the strongest material put into the heart tree because it sees the heart tree as being one of the foremost creations of the Divine Observer to represent a consistent, despite whether the planet represents, like the Feywild, which is chaotic, or, the lawfulness of Osiris. Like, despite all that, there is the heart tree.
Yeah, it's a universal constant. Definitely don't want to get rid of it.
Kyle says, can roll 2 d20s to put the last piece of the Void Dragon if I get above a 20. Look, that's still... yes, you can do that, but you can roll at disadvantage. You can roll at disadvantage.
No, Kyle, so basically, that will eventually come up one of the campaigns I probably assume probably many years down the line. So no, you can't, but you can watch and wait. So what if we make the heart tree serving as a nexus hub for all the Century Great Worms?
Okay, but here's the thing, though. So I imagine, and this is what we kind of touched on, is that the Century Great Worm, or the Great Machine, essentially sees the other Century Great Worms as being irresponsible, abandoning their duties, and inferior to themselves. It sees it as being the greatest of its kind, and completely above them. It doesn't really... It sees, like, the one on Everillion, a failure. The one on Osiris, lazy. One in Drapidon, corrupt. Quenthus, entirely corrupted by the inhabitants of the place.
Oh, you know what I like, though? It uses connected the moons to it as well.
Ooh, okay. I imagine that...
To efficiently move troops.
Yes, and it's almost like
That's
trying.
how they
It's like the
monitor it, because the
connection.
heart tree connects every realm. So that's how it monitors all these things.
That is how it monitors. Is through the heart tree. Big brain, big brain. We're thinking really well today. My God, what is going on? And chat's been like supportive of us as well.
Yeah, it hasn't revolted.
Hasn't revolted, or really led us astray. Besides like the opening half an hour. Can I kill lichens for more power? You know what? Go ahead.
That is how XP leveling works. Yes, Kyle.
This?
I'm sure lichens can kill you for more EXP, but I'll need to double check how much EXP a commoner gives. It might only be 10.
Fuck. Which is interesting. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Like, what is everyone's thoughts on XP versus milestone leveling?
Yeah, that's
actually something
that's a good tangent, because we do milestone.
I'm curious. Actually, what is everyone's thoughts on that? Because I think that there's very strong reasons for both. Personally, I prefer milestone a bit more, but I can see why people would like XP leveling.
Just for that, you're voted. That's fair, Kyle. I'll allow it. I'll allow it this one time.
You've been on very good behavior so far.
Yeah, you have not spammed Will much. But Raph, have you ever? I don't think you've ever done EXP. Or no, was the first game we did EXP?
The first game was with EXP, and part of the second game was with XP, and I've played another game. Like one of the very first games I ever played of D&D was with XP. Yeah, so I have some experience with it. I don't dislike it. I just think a lot of the times outside of your games where I've played with it, because it's that no one gives XP for non-combat related stuff. And if it's a campaign that doesn't have, or rather combat is a bit more limited, then it's hard. Like, you need to try and think of ways to give XP out.
Yeah, it can curate a game for a combat experience over a role play, or like other pillars like exploration.
As we know, it can also, which is one of the reasons we stopped using it, is because it created a feeling with some people is, ooga booga, I want to get this kill and get more XP. When we
actually,
really
oh my god, I remember why we stopped using XP.
Yes, we stopped playing it because we were playing with someone who was essentially like, yeah, I want to kill that. I want to go into this encounter where we should definitely rest and like not go into in the first place even, but I want to get the XP from that. So we're going to go into this fight, which led to a complete, not TPK, but
no, that it did lead to, if not. So we'll talk about the situation. This was back when Quentos was very new. We were still on the other side. A Real V is raiding with a party of 14. Thank you so much. How are you guys doing? What have you been up to? That's a new name. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, good to see you here.
D&D. What sort of D&D were you doing? How are you all doing? Ooh. This is super nice to have you guys. We're pretending we know how to world build, and we're talking like our land of machines and balance, the balance between order and chaos. And we're getting a lot of good stuff done today, but I'm curious about what you are doing. I am Des. I'm the DM for the Eldritch Scribe, and this is Raph, one of my loyal players, and we play for a long time together, and we world build every Wednesday. But what were you doing?
Yeah.
Aero 4? I think. How am I meant to... I'm sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. Can you tell me how to pronounce it? What's up? Or did you raid in the middle of an ad? Ah, they raided in the middle of an ad. How unfortunate.
That is... I am sorry. I apologize for that.
I apologize. They cannot hear us, Ruff.
Yes, they... You know, fair enough. But yeah, tell us what you were up to.
Where viewers are character trying to take down a beast. That's really cool. Arrow, that's... Ooh, we loved it. We love Twitch Plays D&D. That's such a fun concept. What were you fighting today? What was the motive? I don't know if you can't hear us or if the ad... I don't know if pre-roll got you or if ad got you. But let us know exactly what you're doing, because I'm very curious. I love hearing what other streams are up to.
Yeah, always very interesting, especially D&D streams, and new ones that we haven't exactly had how to rate us before we'll rate them. Always good.
We'll be sure to go out and check out your page because I'm curious what you guys are up to. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so what were we discussing?
We were talking EXP versus mousing.
Sorry, got slapped by an ad. Yeah, that was very bad.
That was bad timing. That was bad timing. But when you can hear us, ad will be done in like 22 seconds. So I was just going to talk. We got a lot of good stuff on this page today. We're doing really, really well. With that, all in all, I think it's very interesting to see how much we actually got done with this format today.
I'm curious, actually. I know that I came up with the ideas for the two moons being Titans, but did you have ideas for the Titan before that idea, or were you just...
Not many. I like that. Now the ad is over. So, Arrow 4, the ad should be over now, please. I'm sorry you got hit with an ad. Very, very sorry. It's unfortunate, but thank you so much for the raid. You were saying you were doing like a chat plays, viewer plays D&D? What sort of beasts were you fighting? What sort of... you make small one-shots. Ooh. My chat just got involved in my stream. That's really, really cool. We love to see that sort of stuff.
I was going to say, that's a really interesting concept. I like that.
Thank you so much for rating us. It's super nice to have new faces drop in. We'll be sure to go out and check out your people. Everyone who's watching, that's really cool. Thanks for rating. Go over and make sure to follow. I'm going to... Arrow 4. I know I'm butchering it. I know. I'm sorry.
Look, names not our specialty.
Oh, nice. You have lore around your stream and viewers are like characters in your stream. That's really cool. That is really cool.
I like that a lot.
Hey, I got it right. I didn't butcher someone's name for once. That's Pog. But yeah, as I said, go give him a follow, drop him a follow, show some love. D&D Twitch is a very like small community, so it's nice to get to interact with each other. Just make sure you go and share some love and say what's up. Because it's quite Pog. What? Before the magical white stag and will most likely be dead next stream. You know what? Killing players is a small joy of DMs that they will at least pretend they enjoy.
Yeah, getting to TPK your viewers though is a very interesting experience.
Look, if I could TPK Kyle, I'm gonna do it in a heartbeat. I'm gonna TPK that corgi. I'm gonna TPK that pug.
We are really cute with that pug, okay? Let Kyle be for the rest of the day. Next week though, it'll be different.
Look, gotta do it. But yeah, thank you so much for dropping by. If you guys like this, we're live every Monday and Wednesday. But that's very, very cool of you. I'll have to check it out sometime. Nice. I spent a decent bit of time making a combat we had on Monday, and it went from bad to worse to really, really bad on as it went through. Yeah, but Kyle, like, we love your stupid questions. Memes aside, we love your stupid questions. It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
But I'll catch up the Raiders now that ad is gone. I'm again sorry for the ad. They're set to pre-roll and I can't. I don't change it. That's complicated tech stuff. But we're talking about our realm. We've got 9 planets in our realm, and we've been working our way week by week of a Wednesday to get through them. We're currently talking our equivalent of like the realm of machines, similar to Mechs, but our one is a more of a neutral realm where it maintains the balance of the universe. It has 2 moons that monitor the scales that shift up and down to make sure that it is balanced at all times. And by doing so, it supports either the forces of chaos or the forces of order to make sure that everything stays all in all the right same way around. And as well as that, there's also forces on it that it was once a being called a century great worm, which are the 9 original dragons made sort of deal that monitor how the cosmos works for the divine observer, the god that created everything in our setting. And this one decided it could do it better and just decided to absorb a planet and replace all flesh with machine because flesh is weak.
Yes.
So if that all stuff sounds interesting to you could drop a follow. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did I say you look dapper tonight? Thanks for the follow, Era.
Flattery always
stream.
But yeah, so to continue talking about Great Machine, I'm curious actually, like, does it? How easy is it for someone to, as we've discussed, for someone to reach out and potentially enter into a pact as like a warlock or revere it for like a paladin or a cleric type of thing? How easy is it for someone to engage in that type of relationship? Like, is it quite selective with that type of stuff?
I think
or
it
is
would be.
more-
I think it would almost
Yeah.
be. So we've talked about other realms, and a lot of them so far have been quite easy to get in contact with, really, as a whole. But I think the Great Machine, specifically as the Great Machine as a planet, is also, there's only one sentient-minded being, bar some that are made from it, off of it. But the Great Machine as a whole, it's almost like an insurance company where it will look at your life and view what you've done and try and calculate a probability of success. And it's like, if
Yeah.
it sees the probability of that in your future, it's like, it would use its own algorithm to be like, would you make a good warlock or whatever? Look, Carl, I just said it calculates the probability of success. So I'm going to keep it a book. You've had one character die. Maybe. This is just
we'll
me
see how
shit
long
talking
it-
Kyle every now and then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really turned into Carl's turned into a punching bag.
Look, it's all right. But yeah, I think as a whole, the like contracts and stuff, they're a little bit harder to do. With this one specifically, this is a little bit harder. Kyle, we love you. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Please stay. You can
appreciate you here,
you can
Kyle.
have metal little
We
corgi
appreciate
legs.
you.
I don't mind. Yeah, as I was saying, it's got that little bit of like aspect of selective. It's very much so. It's like, I don't know what will be good for me. I don't know what is going to be likely a good warlock or likely a strong warlock, first of all, because I would say more than anything the Great Machine wants warlocks that are going to go far, or sorcerers that are going to go far. It doesn't want someone that's going to be around to level 3 or 4. It's like, well, like, I think it would probably be a better patron for a campaign that started at a slightly higher level, because it's like, we're going to imbue with this power, and it's,
Yeah.
I think the sort of
Or
missions
unless
you
it-
would get sent on,
unless-
it would actually be a very good planar travel style.
I quite like it. You know what, actually? If a warlock or like someone was to make a pact with it, or to try and enter into a beneficial arrangement of whatever kind with the Great Machine, it judges them. It weighs up their.
That's what I'm
their
saying.
actions
It
of
tries to
lawful or
review.
chaotic.
Like,
But I
it
quite
has
like it. It has like a full-on judicial process of like weighing up on the scales for this person,
exactly.
whether or not they're lawful. That I think like it would be impossible for a chaotic.
Oh, what the hell?
person.
Dead LC Gamers rating us with a party of 21. We're getting
Ooh.
all the love today. How are you guys
wow.
doing? We're getting
Hopefully
back-to-back
some heat in
raids.
there.
Hopefully you guys did not get hit with an ad straight away. Our last raiders did, unfortunately. What, were you guys playing some Twitch plays? Were you guys doing
Yeah,
some
welcome.
second raid? This is really, really cool. So happy to have you guys. Thank you for showing up. Tell us all what you were doing. How are you? Good raiders. What is up? How has your day been? How did your stream go? You're doing Pathfinder today. Ooh. And hello, all the first-time chatters. Thanks for the raid. We are the Eldritch Scribe, myself and Raph being two components of that. This is our world-building day. Normally of a Monday, we do our Kingslayers campaign, but today we're just fleshing out the cosmology. You had an avalanche bury your team in a stable. Was chat playing the team, or did you have guests on today?
Yeah.
You almost got stabbed to death. Nice. And Marcus DM, thank you for the follow. Shut up, no way. Thank you for the follow. This is great to have this sort of nice support. Everyone who's here, if you have not already followed Dead Aussie Gamer, you should, because their content is really cool and fun. Head over there. And a very NCA, thank you for the follow. Thank you for all this love that's coming through. This is really cool to see. We're happy to have you here. We've been totally focused today, haven't been distracted. Thank you so much for this attention. We're happy to have you here.
No, yeah.
We're talking about the cosmology of our world and each individual planet, and we're covering the one that is kind of like Mechanus. It's a machine planet. It's a planet that is a sentient dragon that has replaced all its body with machinery because flesh is for the weak. And now we're talking about how warlocks could interact with them.
Yeah, and it essentially works to try and uphold lawful balance. Or not even lawful, but a sense of order,
Balance.
a consistent order Not too much law and not too much chaos, just the right balance.
Yeah, not too much order, not too much
But yeah,
chaos.
in terms of, I think a warlock is always a good example for this, because it's always very direct. It's more of a direct than necessarily like a cleric. But I think even for someone like a cleric that was to try and reach out, it would still be a similar process. But definitely for a warlock, there would be, upon making the pact, it would almost be like pulled before the scales of judgment, almost like a court.
Yeah,
where
100%.
The Great Machine, probably not even the Great Machine, though, it would be delegated down very practically to a group of sort of higher up Modron type creatures that would.
Yeah.
Oh god, now I'm just thinking, Des, about. I want to see like a bureaucratic standoff between the imps in Osiris's moon versus some of the Modrons working for the Great Machine.
Definitely will. And Arrow,
God,
have a great stream. Have a very great stream.
Thank you so much for being here.
Gift Gabby says, hi, how you doing today? Hope you're doing well. We're doing really, really well. How are you doing, though?
Yeah. Good to have you, Gabby. Thank you.
It's good the docs are broke. Nice.
Oh.
This is Cade has Cade, for those of you watching, Cade in the chat is also one of the scribbles of the Eldritch Scribe and has just sent me a very gamer thing, and we're gonna peep it live on stream.
Ordinium?
The Ordinum. Like ordnance.
Ordinum? I don't know why I read as Ordinium at first.
Alright, let's pop this in.
Ordinum.
Oh god. This did not... I will quickly format this for you, Cade. Because this did not... RTF docs do not format very well.
Oh, is it Ordinium?
Ordinium? It is? Am I wrong? Okay. I thought it was like ordnance.
Oh,
wow,
shit.
okay. Look at me just being wrong.
Ooh. Ooh, this is very interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this.
This is just
Help me bold these
for a
things.
second as we're both going through this. I'll give you a hand.
Let me make this look fancy. I'll go to the bottom and I'll start.
Oops.
All right, so we've got a race already being worked on from Cade. Yeah, look, RTF formatting. It's okay, Cade. Me and Raph will work on this quick. So I'm going to go up while Raph does it. This is the Ordinium. And Gift Gabby, I hope your doctor's appointment goes okay. Hope you're all right. Much love. Increase story ability scores by one by two, and 1 by 1. It is unknown if they die of old age. They appear ageless. This is a liquid metal race that Cade is working on for us. Creature type, they are a construct. Speed, you have a base walking speed of 30 feet. Liquid metal body, you are made of malleable liquid metal and can fit your body through gaps as wide as 1 inch.
Okay.
Tasked alteration, the Ordinium are capable of manipulating their bodies to the task they have been given to perform. Thus, select one alteration which you may change whenever you gain a level. Okay, but what happens at level 20? Can you just keep changing, or like, would this be better to be like at the end of a long rest? That would be my first question. So, multi-tooled limbs. Your body grows an additional limb, which is built with a tool of your choice that you are proficient with. This limb is also capable of interacting with objects. What if you're not proficient with tools? Weaponized limbs. Your arms can change into a sharpened blade as a bonus action, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. If you hit with them, you can deal slashing, bludgeoning, or piercing damage equal to 1d4 plus your strength modifier. I love it.
I love that.
Protection. You can use your reaction when an ally is attacked within 5 feet of you to cause disadvantage on the attack. Is that just every turn, or is that like, can you use that a certain amount of times? Because that's a strong ability. And Deadeye principle, you get +1 to all ranged attack rolls. I like that. Maybe for the thing, actually, if you could choose to activate it, but it's like tasked alteration. You activate it as a bonus action. You get the bonuses of one of those for a minute.
Okay. I quite like the idea of having it for a long rest, though, because it fits very much into the whole, I think, what Cade's trying to go for them.
Yeah, I really like this. And for those of you that don't know, Cade and I have worked on races and sub races and subclasses together before. So stuff Cade and I create does end up becoming canon eventually. Can we vet a Wilk race? No, you cannot. Raph is the only Wilk race. He is the true Wilk.
I am. Look, I can guarantee you, my next character may or may not have a suspicious concoction that they'll drink.
Oh my god. Yeah. Speak, read, write, common, or
but I really
common
like
and
that,
ordinium. I like this, Cade. There's some things I would add to it. But
in terms of the lore behind this race, what do you imagine that to be, Des?
Yeah. So I think this would be a race that is specifically made not on either of the moons, but on Principle as a whole. This is someone or something that is like, Principle has seen need for agents and has placed them around. I'd be very curious to, we've talked a little bit with Zarthelians about how they dream new members of their being into existence. I'd be very curious to see how the Ordinium reproduce. But I like it. I like this as a concept. It's definitely something I want to work on a little bit more.
Yeah.
I like it as an idea, though. I like it as an idea that I want to work on and add stuff to, because I can already see rogues and such making very good. These things would be great for infiltration and spy work. It's very, very cool. Okay, so this is really good work.
So in terms of their appearance, do they look like liquid metal, or do they form into sort of shapes and sort of a roughly humanoid form?
No, I think I would want them to look like metal. I don't think Principle wants things to look like flesh because flesh is weak. I don't think the liquid metal takes on the.
However, if they are infiltration units, if they look like liquid metal, that's gonna be pretty obvious. They kind of stand out.
What if we put one of their tasked alteration to be like a Mask of Many Faces style thing, so they can do infiltration if they need to?
Or even if they just appear, they can choose to appear in their liquid metal form or have a Warforged form that they can shift between that. Because I don't want them to be like a changeling, essentially.
They are inspired by the Terminator, Kyle.
Yes.
Everyone peep this race.
Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think. It's definitely something I'll work on.
Give Cade a lot of feedback.
This is definitely something I'll add some bits to this, Cade, but I like where you've started. We will talk while we're doing degenerate hours playing League of Legends, or just while I'm walking around doing my shopping and we're texting. But we will add stuff to this because that was some can we just get a few Raph brains in chat for Cade? Just just a few Raph brains. Big brain moment from Cade there. Let's good job, Cade.
Managing to whip up a homebrew race within the span of half an hour? An hour?
Look, you gotta do it to him.
Not bad. It's not bad.
It to him. But that's very cool. That's very, very cool. And I really like it, Cade. That was Pog and all those other cool Twitch words that the hip kids say. Look, we did a subclass in last, Cade. We got this. We know how we be at times. Definitely, I would change it to gain level to the long rest. That's the first thing. I want to add more stuff to that task alteration. So I was literally at the start of a day. It's like, what can I do? I love this as an idea though, and this is very distinct from Warforged. It doesn't have that AC. That's snaps for Cade. But before we got distracted by that, Raph, we were talking about. We never know.
What were we talking about, Des?
What were we talking about?
I don't remember. The Great Machine. We've talked about Titans. We can't go so Titans.
We're talking about Warlocks, actually. We're talking about Warlocks.
Right. And people...
So I was saying you had this idea that when someone get there, they would be brought before a court judicial style system. And I had an idea where it was almost like insurance companies, algorithm based, where they look at your life and they try and give a probability of you being successful. So I think this would be a bit of column A, bit of column B. You'll be brought through to testify your case of why you think you would be a good warlock, such to the Great Principle. You would bring your documents. You'd be like, these are the history of my life. They scan you, and then they work based on your pre-existing stats and stuff. How would you fit into Principle? They would scan your mind to see, do you are you a true neutral being? Because remember, I think this is a lawful neutral realm.
Very much lawful neutral.
Kate, I do know where your DMs are for aggressive notes. I will send you semi-aggressive
Thank you,
notes.
Kate.
Thank you. And
We
sleep well.
appreciate
Sleep
having
well.
you here, and we appreciate your ideas. Sleep
And we
well.
appreciate everyone who's showed up today. It's great. It's very gamer hours. If you get to the planet, it's kind of it's SEDS1, one of those based off of that mine concept. I'm sorry, Kyle, I don't understand. Raph, can you interpret that? I think he's got too much will.
No. If you get to the planet,
it sends one of those based off that mind concept. Sends?
Yeah.
Is there an N meant to be there?
Let us know, Gar.
Let us know. But I like this idea of it's like if you beseeched principle, it's like, you go for this and it's like very like business interview, and it's like based on how you've done, it then decides whether or not to grant you powers. And it's very like, it's not like it's definitely not the type of patron like the Lord of Disintegration that's going to try and fuck you over.
Yes.
Oh, the demon plant, it takes some of your blood to judge you. Demon plant, is it?
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
We're talking back to the Zarkor bed archery, I believe.
No. I think Carl's referring to Dragor.
Oh, okay, the devil. Okay, yes.
Yeah, how on the planet
Kyle says, is there a planet of nature? Because I may have a new circle of druids you may be intrigued by.
Ooh.
Okay, we don't have a planet of nature, but we do have we have various planets that have nature in them.
Yeah.
But there's I suppose you could say Vitrizian is almost nature because it's definitely got that Feywild nature of time hasn't grown forward, so the heart tree is there. Or Quentus could be nature, or was. That's what I'm saying would happen, but mind reading. Yeah, very similar. Very, very similar, Kyle. Very similar to the Black Oak. Absolutely. You're spot on with that. Look at you paying attention, remembering stuff.
Yeah.
Perhaps for Kyle.
Well done, Kyle. But yeah, in terms of the Black Oak, that would be actually kind of interesting to have something similar to that.
Yeah, it's definitely similar. But absolutely, it's.
But yeah, let us know.
Very curious.
About the.
Yes, put your druid subclass in the Discord. And for those of you that joined, we've got a Discord. It's pretty cool. You can join us there and talk about all the stuff that happens. If you like our distractions, you could always follow the stream. Did I mention you're looking very, very nice tonight? Kat, you're very, very, very beautiful today. Drop a follow.
Someone came dressed in their best today.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you, person, looking your most handsome and loveliest. Yeah. So stupid.
Flirting with chat to get followers.
Flirting with chat. When am I not? I'm either shilling or flirting. Yeah. It's one or the other.
Look, there is.
I remember that because it weirded me out. Good.
As it should. But yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about. We kind of touched on that. Raph, would you mind just giving a quick recap on the things we touched? Just get
absolutely not.
Just do it. Do it anyway.
Okay, so we're talking about the planet principle, or the Great Machine, which is essentially a. God, this is going to be rough. There's a lot of touch points, but essentially the planet is the plane of order, and it was formed. Essentially, it is the body of one of the Century Great Worms, which is one of the original dragons in the setting that was sent out to monitor and observe and try and maintain the balance of each of the different planets to make sure that they stay in their original purposes. But upon arriving at this planet, the dragon, essentially the Great Worm, essentially decided that it could do a better job if it broke these boundaries and strictly enforced order on the planet. And eventually, over time, embraced the order and discipline of machine and metal, and turned itself and the entire planet into essentially a massive ball of metal filled with factories and forges and all sorts of stuff like that, and from which it monitors the entire cosmology, and yeah, tries to keep the scales of balance of the whole universe. The scales very literally being the two moons of the world, one representing order and one representing chaos, with their position moving depending on how much there is of each currently. I think that's a very good summary of a lot of what we covered.
Yeah, you're spot on, Raph. I had my headset on. I was listening the entire time. Also, the horse boy, thank you for the follow. Very gamer.
Ooh,
I hope it was my flirting with chat that did that.
Always what does it.
It always is. But yeah, this is very, very good content. I think we've covered a really decent chunk of content for this. All in all, it's been a lot of interesting stuff. I'm curious, is there anything else we've got to talk about it though?
Is there anything else we wanted to cover? Is there anything else anyone else is interested to know about this planet? Or rather, even just the Century Great War?
Or the history. There's a great chance to ask questions if you want to.
See, I'm curious, did the planet have inhabitants before the arrival of the Great War?
I'm sure it did. I just don't think it does anymore. It's probably more than likely a planet that has become had something very much so in the realm of we'll watch this, we'll maintain it, but then when it got there, it's this is these, as you said, order and chaos. I think this is the planet that order and chaos were just at an ends with each other, and we're not coming to a agreeable stop. So
yes,
I think everything got destroyed. And I think that is predominantly what happened to it. I think it's much more of things fucked around and found out. Carl, this one does not have milk. Maybe when we get to the planet,
it has milk. It has milk in the form of liquid metal. I think just looking back at demons, actually, the druid, it acts more of a defensive style compared to other druids because it is based on amber, which is slow, sticky, and incredibly durable when it hardens. It's an interesting take on druids, or one of the better subclasses I thought of so far. I'd be quite interested to hear that, actually, more defensive type.
I think it's in the Discord now.
It is in the Discord? Okay, let's have a look.
D&D chat.
Let's have a peep. It is. The Circle of Amber. I like that name, actually. The Circle of Amber.
Is there a link to it, or is it just...
No, it's just that.
Just a concept. That's a concept. I think it's really cool.
Who is Amber, though? Who is Amber?
Don't ask Johnny. But overall, I think I like that. We've kind of done it here where we talked about subclasses, although we decided not to start designing yet because we wanted to get through all these concepts we had first. But I like that as a concept. I like specified subclasses because subclasses are cool and all, but especially when they're vague, like swashbuckler and stuff. But have you decided to ever play something that was strictly dedicated to something? That's even cooler.
Yeah, I think
I like stuff that's a little bit
kind of an interesting. Sorry.
I think it's an interesting concept. Also, I think that you could use a really, really good use of your wild magic, rather than rather than wild shaping.
Yeah, wild shape.
You could make armor of amber.
Ooh, okay.
I think it would be very interesting.
See, I would like more druid subclasses that give options for wild shape. To use it from other things other than just wild shaping. Circle of Stars, for example, is a great example of what you can do beyond that.
And Circle of Wildfire.
And Circle of Wildfire. Yeah,
to a
exactly.
lesser extent.
To a lesser
agree
extent,
with you.
and I think that's something I want to see more druid subclasses going into the future doing, is very much trying to think of creative ways to use wild shape. I think it's a mechanic that has a lot of potential behind it and a lot of interesting possibilities. And I would be very interested to do a druid subclass at some stage. Actually,
we have one that we wanted to do. Remember, it's a druid to the Ivorian tree. Curious, is there anything we haven't done for this? That.
Actually, one thing I want to discuss. I imagine with the Great Machine, as in the Great Worm, when it occupied the planet, I imagine that essentially it's made sure that there are no other higher powers, higher beings.
Oh God, no!
That exist.
God, no!
So
Like,
it's
there's
not
no.
like there's. Yeah, so there is nothing else. There is only things below it.
Oh yeah, it definitely has that bit of Hippocratic moments to it. It's like, whereas like what I do to maintain perfect balance, but like completely destroying all the organic material on a world was not maintaining balance. It's like, that chaos will be balanced out by the good I will do. It's like,
that's the thing. It's almost overzealous with what it wants to do. Okay, because I think that's been an interesting thing that we've discussed each time. Is like for the Feywild, discussing some of the Fey courts, or some of the some of the demons that exist. But with this one here, there isn't really much to discuss there.
Demons had stupid
is there
ads.
anything else?
Sorry, Demons had stupid ads, but for me, that's why I like Circle of Wildfire and Spore, because they both do something different. Druids, but are much more specified with stuff compared to others. Honestly, specific subclasses is the only reason I think people still enjoy Rangers, because they're all centered on certain stuff. Absolutely, I think specific subclasses carry D&D at times, because there's an awful lot of times when, like, you look at some stuff and it's like, it's like stuff that is strictly campaign specific. It's like without it, it's never going to show up. But it's like, if you make stuff that is catered to around specific campaigns, you can make some really, really cool stuff. Whereas if like you want to talk with your DM to make sure it's going to come up, because like, especially with Rangers, like favorite enemies, you want to be like, hey, I chose my favorite enemy is elementals, but this campaign we've fought 0 and it's been 65 sessions. What's happening? It's definitely, and also just personally as a DM, I love working with my players to like get this sort of stuff and like do it, like make this stuff that's like curated for them, which is pretty cool. But we were talking about like higher courts, and we talked about the Fey court, we talked about the great demons and the Archdevils, and we've had a lot of these moments to talk about these things. Unfortunately, that's not something that the Great Machine has, because that's organic material, and organic material was purged. I do like the concept that there's like almost like this, like, you know what I'd like to talk about actually? How do you envision the Great Machine appearing? Because it doesn't just maintain it, because it's the planet now. Like, is it like, think like Fallout New Vegas? Is it like House, who's like in a screen waiting to speak to people? Or do you like, how do you feel about that?
I think we need to come to a decision in terms of the personality of the Great Worm. Is it still at heart very much that proud, arrogant Great Worm that all of them have in common? So I think in that case, it would make a show. If it actually appeared to someone, it would make a show of itself appearing.
It definitely says a large metal dragon body.
Yes, absolutely. And it shows itself. Like, if it chooses, like, imagine most of the time when it communicates, it does through, like, mediums, whether that's, like, a lesser construct or through, like, a sort of, almost like a TV screen type of thing that pops up and what have you.
I think
but if it actually appears to someone, it does so and it looks imposing. It is a gigantic metal dragon with just purely machine, like almost like you have like cables and stuff like glowing with energy running across its body. Like it looks incredibly out of place. If someone saw it in normal Quenthos, it would look incredibly out of place.
Wrong. But you know what I like to think? I like to think that as a being, the Great Machine is very terrifying, because I think they're, I don't want to say immortal, but I think they are close to immortal, because I think they're hooked into the system on, like, because remember, like, it's all about the efficiency. Like, even the large constructs are piloted by small modules. I don't think it's in that, like, that one dragon body. I don't think it's in that. I think that's, like, it's part of, like, it's connected to the network of the Great Machine. So, like, to kill the Great Machine, if you wanted to, you'd have to destroy the planet. You'd have to destroy all the machinery, because, like, it's kind of like this, you know, Skynet style, like, super AI, where it's like, it's in everything. As long as any form of machinery is left alive on the Great Machine, it's there.
Now, I think it would be quite an interesting concept to have someone like who wants to bring harm to the Great Machine, not exactly damage it, but who see that they can potentially maybe like destroy one of the moons or unbind the moons from the planet and completely cause an imbalance in chaos and order through that means.
Oh yeah,
and destabilize the Great Machine. I think that'd be a very interesting concept in terms of trying to bring harm, but obviously not being able to destroy a whole planet.
Yeah. And Demon says, imagine it happening in the Princess of the Apocalypse campaign. I'd laugh my ass off, even though I'd be pissed off. Could you just imagine that? That's like fucking going into a Rise of Tiamat game, but your favorite enemy is undead.
Des, can you describe that to me? What is the Princess of the Apocalypse game like? Because I don't really know.
I've never played. I've heard a little bit. It's a published adventure. It's one of these like things.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the main villain is. I've never played it. I think is that the one you start. I think that's the one where you start in the Underdark. Though. You start like a drow hold, like you're in prison.
Ooh, okay, that's kind of interesting.
Demon, tell us what it's about, because I've never played it. We've never run I've only ever touched it on Strahd for thinking of doing pre-written. Well, that's about it. Let us know what it's about. I'm very curious.
Yeah, let us know, because I'd be kind of curious. As we've said multiple times, we don't really know much about Forgotten Realms in general or anything related to it.
No, we do not.
Which is why we homebrew. And is why we world build.
Exactly. But
that's a serious addiction at this stage.
It is. What is it about? No second, I will get the synopsis up and tell you.
Good.
Oh, they thwart the plans of 4 elemental cults.
Okay.
I thought who's the villain? That's cool though. I've never played it. I did not know elementals were the villain.
Strahd is so cool. Doing my second playthrough, but this time on hard mode, starting as a peasant, not even level 1. That sounds brutal.
Oh my god. Are you a peasant in Barovia, or are you a peasant that got brought there? Because that's rough, Robert.
That's rough. Like if you have to go through Death House as a peasant.
Oh, peasant of Barovia. Oh, you've never had a good life then.
You poor bastard.
I would love to redo Strahd for our setting, like redo it, like, but don't like have him like. But the problem is we're doing a vampire villain now, so I just we can't do a vampire villain.
Death House is a peasant, not even level 1. That is insanity. Suicide. Suicide? Yeah, I think suicide.
Question, Robert: is the Death House for your group in the village of Barovia, or did you do like when I ran it? I did it just outside of it, like close to the entrance, like but still a little bit away. It was because I was like the also just got a shout out the Curse of Strahd subreddit. They're cracked, like they've rewritten a lot of it and like made a lot of it better. And I was following a lot of their stuff, and we had a blast. I think when we did Curse Strahd, but we were probably going into it. See, the problem is we also were doing it as I was like jumping between 2 jobs. So we were doing it as like a lighthearted thing. Yeah, it's like okay, so you're like your DM's following some of that stuff. It's wild. Yeah, it's definitely in the realm. It's just a little bit before you get to Barovia proper. I think in official, it's like literally one of the houses in Barovia, but I don't think that works very well in like the city, in the village. I love Curse of Strahd as like a concept. I have the Troika cards. I love the themes around it. I definitely think like it takes the right group to do Curse of Strahd, because it's definitely something you want. Like you're trying to set up horror towns, 100%. So, like when we went into it, we were definitely feeling a little bit more lighthearted and like a little bit less serious, which is definitely not the vibe for Strahd, realistically.
Because it was a second game at that point.
No, it was our main game. Because remember, I dropped the Councilman for a little bit because I needed a break.
That's
because I was swapping between 2 jobs that time, and it just my schedule was all sorts of fucked. So we were like getting to the last arc of our game at that stage, and I didn't want to
It was good fun though. I like the idea for Strahd.
I
It's
love the
like,
idea for sure. But as I said, the problem is we're currently going up against Samael, the vampire saint of undeath. They can't do
Mhm.
vampire villains close to each other at all. It's like,
yeah,
especially because they're
yeah.
such different style vampires. And Robert said, yeah, we did a playthrough almost 2 years ago, and now we're doing a second one with some new people, but we all wanted to do hard mode. That sounds tough, though. I would love to do a proper like
It's,
survival horror there, where like you're tracking ration stuff is like
yes.
difficult to come across. I'm questioning though, Robert. Have you gotten your Taroka reading yet? Do you know who your allies are? Do you know who, like, have you
Yeah.
gotten any of this stuff yet? Or
I think
how far in? Did you just do
I
Devon?
remember the first time you did the Taroka reading, Des. You read it and it was like no allies, no fucking help. It was
No,
just
it wasn't.
fucking,
It wasn't no allies. I can't remember if that's one. It was like the worst.
It was like
You got like the worst
it was
reading
the
you could
worst
get.
outcome. Yeah.
I literally threw it out. I was like, we'll do a different one. Because it was like, no. I think it literally was like where you will fight Strahd. It was literally like the worst options. I think all the items were in Strahd's castle or like the Amber Temple. It was like everything was like farthest end game away. I think your fated ally was like the weakest, or I can't remember. No, I think you got no fated ally. I have to pull out Curse of Strahd. I was like, I have the book. I think that was one of the options. I'll know it if I see it. 1 second there, chat, while I grab a book from my shelf. What's a Strahd? Oh, I'm gonna crack this spine in a minute. The reading. God, this is such a good book. I will say this is a great book. It is like even just as a reading exercise, it's great.
Nope, not yet. Last session we just escaped the death house. At least one person is rolling your character as you do. Yeah, of course. It doesn't get that name for no reason.
Oh yeah, Death House kills. Like Death House kills so many low level adventures. It didn't kill any of our group, but I was also trying to just have a bit more fun time.
Yeah, and a bit of an easier. Considering it was for like everyone bar one person in the group hadn't done it before. It was trying to ease us into the Strahd setting as much as you can be eased.
Literally. I'm trying to see. Let's go. Yeah, no, you literally got the Dark Lord last time. There's no NPC who can inspire the characters. You had no fated ally last when we did it, and I redid the reading because it was just like, I think DMs as a whole, like you should fudge the Taroka reading. Don't have like I think that's one of the beauties of Curse of Strahd, though, is you can play it 2 times. And, like your fated allies are different. The items are going to be at different locations. Where you're destined to meet Strahd is in a different location. But I think it's on the DM to fudge the Taroka reading unless you're going like true hard mode, and like so you can curate a story that like gives a solid progression. At least that's what I felt like I should have done, which I enjoyed when I did do it. Like things were flowing the right way, because like you can even do some stupid shit where it's like the sun sword that you're meant to get is with the woman Madame Ava who does the reading for you, as like you can get that like level 3 or 4, and it's just I think it can mess with progression, although I do love the randomness of it. I would like to do it a pure random run, but I just think especially for a first run it's probably wiser not to. It's probably wiser to do it with some form of like knowledge of it prior with yourself, to like know what sort of, read through the book, know which NPCs you want to be allies, know where you want to meet Strahd for that dramatic final encounter, and like plan for shit. Like that's the other thing, plan for shit that goes wrong. Like if they lose Irina to Strahd early on, like, and they get the wedding invitation early, like plan for that, because oh god, and there's some stuff that just should be changed from the book that doesn't work well.
Yeah, we only stopped playing it actually because your schedule switched up a bit to be more favorable for us.
Yeah, exactly. Like we only stopped it because we wanted to finish our like almost 50 session long campaign at that stage.
Yeah.
And Robert said, lighthearted, technically nothing in a module is true or fudged until the DM wills it into the world. Nobody's going to know. Exactly. Like that's saying it's like lay out the cards on the mat before the players arrive to your house, or like come to the table, or if you're on Roll20, put the cards down first and then describe her drawing the cards. Also, just so you as a DM can like really give flavor and understand the card's meaning when you're reading out like the flavor text, because like Stroud has a lot of flavor text to read, like a lot.
Yes, it's one of those flavorful of modules. Yeah,
it's extremely cool. Extremely cool.
To return to the Great Machine, the principle. Is there anything you wanted to touch upon this?
Well, first things first. If chat has questions, I'd love to answer them first before we like go ahead and lose ourselves to another distraction. Because we are pulling up towards the end, I will say. So it's a note of that. But other than that, I think we've covered a lot of really good stuff in the Great Machine, and
we've come up with some really good ideas, I think.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see if anyone has anything else.
This is actually so Cade, he just left, Robert. This is not homebrew review. This is a sub race that just got quickly made by one of our players and one of our little world builders of the group. Because we're talking about the cosmology of our world.
Yeah,
we're world building today, and this is a race that from the planet we're coming up with, the Ordinium. This is a race that Cade was working on. Demon says, guys, I already have someone who does homebrew on board to help me make the Circle of Ember. It shows when we're doing it. I can't tell if it shows how much of a homebrew junkie I am or how stubborn or excited I am to make it. Also, knowing me, I'm probably going to make at least 5 to 10 new druid spells to both help the class as a whole, but also focus on the Circle of Ember. Yeah, put that in the Discord awesome. When you get it done, Demon. I'll be great to hear. But so Raph did a very good job recapping last time, but I'll give a hand on it this time for Robert.
Yeah, I was just going to say though quickly, this isn't a homebrew review, but if you have homebrew you'd like to show us, we will look through it and
we will review your homebrew.
We also enjoy looking at it.
We talked about the Great Machine today, and this will go up on our Twitch as a VOD eventually. Well, not on our Twitch, this will highlight on the Twitch straight away, but it will go onto our YouTube as a VOD. And basically we talked about, we're week by week for the past 7 weeks, I think, or if not more. We're on planet 8 now. So yeah, past 7 weeks, and I think we got distracted 1 or 2 weeks in there. But we're talking about the cosmology of our world. There's 9 realms, 9 planets, and we've gone week by week covering each of them. This week we went and talked about the planet that represents balance in our world. A planet that once represented the fighting of order and chaos and was taken over by a being called a Century Great Worm, a type of dragon that was sent by the Divine Observer, the person who made everything, the force of utmost creation, to watch over everything. This Great Worm saw the fighting that was happening and decided that they could do a better job between order and chaos, and slowly but surely started replacing all the organic material with metal, because metal lives longer than flesh. And this is definitely a moment of like focus for the Great Worm, because they've tried to curate the Titans, which we have in our world, which are beings that represent like natural forces like order and chaos as a whole, and turn them into moons that literally balance to maintain the level of order and chaos in the realm. And if one balances too much in one way, the Great Machine, the dragon, the Century Great Worm, the planet and dragon are one, will send constructs of chaos or constructs of order to help either side. And then when great events happen, like a cataclysmic event, it tries to siphon off as much of these energies into either of the moons for order or chaos to try and keep things perfectly balanced. So it's basically trying to watch and wait to make sure that when stuff happens, it knows how to stop it from getting out of hand, and it will aid one side. It understands that throughout life and throughout the life cycle of the universe that there will be great chaos at times, which will be brought back into great terms of order, and this will be like a flow that happens, but things, when it starts to diverge, it will try and pull the things back into a narrower path that fits the overall flow of the cosmology. That's why I won't interact too much overall. It's a planet that watches. It's something that sits there to be and observe, and it's very, very curious, and we've had a lot of fun making. We got really, really into it today, Robert. It was very, very fun. And we've been doing this for each planet. We do this every Wednesday at we've been doing it 4 p.m. GMT +1, but we're going to swap it to 3 p.m. GMT +1 just for a little bit better time for some of our viewership, just to help people be around a little bit more. Some of our more regulars who watch our Monday game at 12 p.m. GMT +1. It's honestly, it's a blast. We've been enjoying world building the frick out of it and chatting with chat.
Yeah, it's been very fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it'll be highlighted on the Twitch, so it'll be on the Twitch. I have to. Oh my god, I haven't updated our collections in a while, so unless Jen's been doing that for me. They are a little bit out of whack, but it will go up on the YouTube, I believe. I want to say Saturday, or so. I'm trying to get more regular with the VOD uploading. Yeah, last Monday was intense. Raf's character almost died. Thank you so much for the lurk, though. We love to have you there. Don't be afraid to pop off and chat when things are going off, because Monday Kingslayers is very intense, very intense.
Last week was very intense. The first time I think Des has ever actually got me so far to tear up on camera. So. Well,
I'll do it. For those of you that weren't there last week, spoiler warning for Kingslayers. If you're not caught up or you're trying to catch up, just earmuffs, kids. Last week in Kingslayers, the party were tracking down an agent called Screw. Someone from Zamani's backstory that has been posed as 4 years ago was an issue. The job is 4 years late, and they are now a problem. The party went headstrong into their lair with little to light preparation, I will say. And the fight quickly turned from worse to bad as Zamani was trying to save her spells and then got mind controlled and used as a warlock her screw that guy. And basically Raph got disintegrated as Calicindir, only to be brought back by a patron's intervention and a swapping of hands of Warlock Pact. And there's a lot of
spoiling it for you, Daria.
Look, Daria, I'm sorry. I can't believe I did that to you. I know you've been trying your best to catch up on it. My bad.
And Des just comes out here swinging, just spoiling left and right for you.
It's rough. You hecking memer. But yeah, it's very, very cool, and we're going to see a lot of knock-on consequences. A few I actually discussed last night on the Patreon. For $15 a month, you can get access to session reports as a natural transition. Yeah. Or if you like our stuff, we've got Patreon tiers over there for battle maps, or Patreon if you just want to get access to our world anvil and see when these notes sort of go live and the big encyclopedia of our world. Yeah, you know what, Robert? That I agree. That is a super well done overlay. That's done by Daria. She's right above you in the chat at ch-.com. It's a really, really cool overlay. It really goes to the theme of the tarot cards and all. It's very, very pog. It's very cool. I have to update the...
Massive shout out to Daria there.
Massive shout out to Daria. She did the art for the characters as well. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
She's super talented and like amazingly talented. She does a lot of really good work. And
you have a link? Do we have a link for Daria? I think we do. Do we have a... Yeah, there we go.
There we are. Go check her out on Twitter. She does commissions. Daria takes work. Yes. Daria is taking work. Go message her on Twitter. She's very, very gamer. Very, very cool. Yeah, if you want to get access to our world anvil, you can subscribe to the channel. Which, Robert, you are subscribed to the channel. I don't know if you subscribed yourself or it was gifted. I'm not sure. But if you want to reach out to me on Discord, you can get access to our world anvil. And you can read all this stuff. Like this will... Myself or Raf goes back through these Google Docs and throws them up to the World Anvil, and then also intermittently as well just updates our World Anvil because it is a reward for patrons or subscribers. It's very, very cool, and you can see all the stuff of our world and see the calendar and see like the maps of different countries. Sorry,
it's very cool.
It's very dry. That is my body's way of telling me I talk too much.
Yeah. I think that just about sums it up.
That just about sums it up. You aren't wrong. I'm trying to think, is there anything else we want to cover other than my shameless shilling stuff at the end?
Robert just says quickly there, I'm running my second campaign. I thought the first module was problematic, but now I'm learning all the Wizards of the Coast modules are problematic. What are you running? What's is it the Strahd or?
Yes. Modules have very little wiggle room. I'm not a big fan of modules. But tell us what you're running. I'm very curious. I am very, very curious. I ran Call of the Netherdeep first. and then Storm King's Thunder. I have heard issues about Storm King's Thunder. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Storm King's Thunder, I've heard, is like it doesn't feel like it matters what the players are doing. It just feels like the story is happening in like conjunction with the players, and it expects you to know an awful lot of like the world, like just the Forgotten Realms. And it's like, oh, there's like Netherdeep over there. Like there's not Netherdeep, like Neverwinter over there. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of work. I'm going to keep it a buck, Robert. That is, I've heard issues with Storm King's Thunder. I've had the opportunity to read through Storm King's Thunder before, and I did not like the concept at all. I thought it was quite had a lot of bloat in it. It had a lot of stuff that I felt I would need to change or work on or modify to make work for us, and it just it wasn't exactly what I had in mind for like content I wanted to run. But it's I'm sure it's a great module when you do get it working.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that is going to transition us into my shameless shilling part of the stream. So you've heard me mention a little bit before, but we're going to go down now. So if you liked what you saw, please consider just following the stream. It means the world to us. We had a lot of love today, and we got a lot of follows today, and it's great to see. We do this out of pure love, but it's nice to not hemorrhage money when we can. So if you liked it, if you like getting access to our World Anvil, you can subscribe to our Twitch or our Patreon for $5 a month. Or if you want to go above and beyond that, on our Patreon, we have access for a $10 a month tier where you get access to all the battle maps we use, like we used on Monday. And they're pretty cool. I'm even updating our backlog for some of our pre-stream games, slowly but surely. And then for $15 a month, you can get... and Robert is continuing the gift sub they got from ATD Cartography. Thank you so much, Robert. Very cool.
Oh, thank you so much.
Very, very cool. But...
It does hit save.
Hit save. ATD's been mentioned. But yeah, if you want to get further access, if you want to see how my brain works, especially like more like knock-on consequences of like Screw's decimation of the party and such, I talk about that a little bit in $15 a month tier, where I do my DM session report of how each stream went. Sometimes I do them 2 weeks in a row. Last week kind of got away from me, so I did it 2 for 1 there yesterday. But I do get them done. I've been consistent since I started. And it kind of talks light spoilers. I'm not going to tell you like major things, but I will talk like, well, this is going to have knock-on effects because I think this or this could happen. And it'll be interesting to see how the party reacts to X or Y. And it's very, very cool. I don't have a Patreon command, which is my bad. It is in our bad section. But I will put a link in the chat. If it is within your means, we'd really appreciate the support. It is one of, if not the best ways to support us. Here we go. There it is. I need to get a command for that. Other than that, we've got some cool affiliate stuff. We've got Button Forge. It's pretty cool. They make really, really high quality dice stuff like dice trays, dice vaults, and it's very, very handy. They're very, very nice. Raph also has some. We are affiliate. If it is when you need it, full transparency, it is affiliate, so we do get a small percentage, but they have really high quality projects. We've worked with them before. You see Neldaberry in chat. Sometimes they are co-founder of that, and they're very, very cool, and we love working in conjunction with them. Other than that, we've got a throne in our about section, which is if you don't want to do support through money, if you want to do it via gifting, we've even got community gifting enabled. There's various just equipment in there that will help increase the overall quality of the stream. But I don't mean to shill at you for too much. Please come hang out with us on Discord. We were going to talk more like more stuff. So you get everything from the previous tier as well. Can the battle maps convert to Roll20, and can I use them for a home game under the $15 tier? All of them, I upload them. We do everything through Roll20, Robert, so they all work for Roll20 when you download them. Yeah, I believe you have to set the scale. They should work though. I do all convert them to Roll20, so that's where all my maps go. If you see a map you particularly like, I can also give you a more Roll20 like exact size one if you want. I believe specifically the dimensions I use for Roll20 are 31 wide by 25 tall. That's the aspect ratio for like tiles on Roll20 that my maps work beyond. And yeah, you can use them for your home game. If you know, you can pretty much do anything bar sell them. So if you even want to use them, if you stream D&D and you want to use them for your D&D stream, you know, use them for there. Just give us a shout out if you do use them for a project like that. I don't mind. You just like I work tirelessly on Incarnate. I've used a lot of it. I even take commissions on that on Fiverr, which I don't promote here for some reason, because I am smooth brain sometimes. But if you like them, yeah, I've done some really fancy ones.
Yes,
maybe another time.
Really cool maps that I've seen.
But yeah, any of that.
You should do a stream sometime where you can just show off your maps. You know what it does?
Look, I can definitely do it sometime. But yeah, I use Incarnate or Wonder Draft sometimes, or Dungeon Draft sometimes to make maps. And yeah, as long as you're not selling them or making money off them, you can use them if you want. If you want to use them as part of your stream, by all means, you know, as long as it's just not like ripping the map and selling it, or, you know. And if you want to use it in a module or something, you could always contact me and we could work something out, I'm sure. But yeah, it's pretty chill. But if it's within your means to support us, we'd really appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, same, Robert. I hemorrhage money. This is me shilling to try and recoup some of it. I just bleed D&D money. I don't make enough to do it. But thank you so much for everyone who watched. Thank you so much for everyone who chatted. We had a really, really good stream today. We're probably going to keep doing this at the 3 p.m. time rather than the 4 p.m. time, just so we can get a little bit more... it just seemed to work a little bit better for some people today. And yeah, we're going to stop lying in the titles and just call shovel a shovel. Thank you so much for watching.
We get distracted.
We're going to... Stop. We get distracted too much. We'll be back on Monday at 12 p.m. GMT+1 for our Kingslayers campaign as we deal with the consequences of Screw getting a little bit ahead. And we'll see what happens there. See you then. Bye.
Very interesting. See you guys.